You're watching HelloNation.
We want to welcome you to the HelloNation podcast. We are your voices of good news, and I am your host, Leah Lando. We are so excited today to welcome Mr. Warren Clark to our podcast. He's the president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau, serving upstate New York. And Warren, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're talking about something that, that we all have to deal with at least once in our lifetime, replacing our roofs. And we're talking about roofing contractors, not the most exciting thing to spend your money on, but it's a lot of money usually, so you want to make sure that you get it right. So we're so happy to have you on here to give us some insight on how we select the right contractor and what we should know. And we like to start our podcast with sharing good news. So I'm going to ask you, it doesn't have to be on topic. It doesn't have to be something about roofing. We just want you to give us something good in your life. And I know you've talked about your family a lot, so I would love for you to just share some good news that you have.
Well, the great news for me is that I have both of my two children and both of their two children within very close range. I'm very fortunate. My son and grandson have lived here, and my daughter and granddaughter moved here just a year ago and are living with my wife and myself. So I feel very fortunate. I couldn't be happier at this point of my life that I have a great job that we're about to talk about and a wonderful family.
And I'm extremely jealous. I hope to be you one day when my kids actually want to be with me. Right now, they're not in that phase. So very jealous of that. Mr. Clark, thank you so much. Let's start by this. Why do roofing-related companies tend to come into the Better Business Bureau? What usually went wrong?
When a company joins us, for the most part, they join because my elevator speech is that we sell trust in a marketplace that has so little of that in every direction, not just a marketplace today. And we're so concerned and worried about things going on around us. And the BBB torch logo, the torch is well known, and people know that they can trust people. They don't know all that we do, but they know the name and they know that it means trust.
And you've worked hard to build that trust and to get consumers like us to trust you and come to you.
Absolutely. Some of it is that obviously consumers, particularly older consumers, remember when you used to have a handshake and somebody said they were going to do something and the other person said, I'll give you X amount of money to do it. And both did exactly that. And for over 100 years, we started as an advertising review company fundamentally, and we still do that where, ads. There was the president of Coca-Cola at the time, the marketing director of Coca-Cola 112 years ago that said all advertising is lies. And ultimately, that led to the founding of what were advertising committees that evolved into the Better Business Bureau. Our BBB in Upstate New York started in Buffalo. We have evolved. We have lots of different services that we now have a wonderful review app that we give away to our accredited members and trying to add value to their accreditation. We vet them very carefully. We actually reject about 10 to 12% of the people, the businesses that want to join. Maybe they don't have proper licensing or they're advertising. It's as silly as a company could be calling themselves incorporated, because it makes them sound bigger. And if they do that and they're not incorporated, we don't accept them. And last year, about 2.6 million people used our BBB in upstate New York, meaning that they were checking on or complaining about or sending a review on one of the 133,000 companies in our service area.
Yeah, we've used you before. I didn't know you have an app, though, so that's good to know.
It's a review app, and we have a brand new international president, and she has been really focusing on updating the website, making it more user-friendly, and there will be an app hopefully sooner than later.
When a homeowner gets to the point where they realize, we need a new roof, what are some of the misunderstandings that they have when they go to hire a contractor?
Well, I think roofs and almost anything that they hire, people tend to not read their contract. So we have vetted the roofer, and we know that she or he is going to tell the consumer. We presume what they need, and that the consumer will understand that and what they're going to get. And unfortunately, in almost any type of business, there are people that the consumers tend to think they know, and they trust the contract, but where we tend to side honestly with a consumer in a complaint, understand what they were supposed to get, and we can there say that the contractor didn't do that. Where we'll side with the business often, it's very often that the consumer really didn't know what they were entitled to, and what they should be getting.
I have a question about that too, because you talked before about that the app and the website talk about complaints and whatnot. How often is it complaints versus compliments for a business? Because you talked earlier too about the handshake. It used to be that. Well, now it just seems like a lot of negative. Do you guys get a lot of compliments in the same about a roofer?
Well, we're trying, but people don't think of us for that. And that's part of the new, hopefully, what will be marketing and let people understand. For probably 10 or 12 years, people have had the ability to put reviews about the business on bbb.org, which is the website that covers all of North America. Very simple, easy to do. It's a very inexpensive app for Better Business Bureaus to buy. It's always given free to the businesses. What we were getting from businesses was they really, they want BBB, but it's not where they want their reviews. They want them on Google. They want them on Yelp. They want them on Facebook. And the company that does the app that we have been supplying for free, it came up with a program called BBB Plus. And we're just started at January 1st of this year, but it allows the business to offer up to 5 different sites that a consumer can place a review, including bbb.org. But so if somebody wants to send it to Google and to BBB, they can do that. And we believe that's going to be a dynamic addition. I have an incredible management team here. There's 5 people in addition to myself that we meet regularly, and we finally said the number of new businesses we need to join and or stay because of this app are doable, and that's what we're doing right now.
So you want listeners to know that you're going to be a go-to place, and you are right now a go-to place, not just for complaints, but reviews.
Yes, and that's one of the big discussions throughout what we call the system. The BBB system is 91 Better Business Bureaus. Every inch of North America is covered by a Better Business Bureau. And there are programs. For instance, we have an auto line program that we administer not only in upstate New York, but we do 5 other states, because we're actually the 9th largest Better Business Bureau in North America by membership, in the 26th largest market. So we're very proud of what the BBB in upstate New York is doing, even over and above what the average BBB is able to do. And because we've had our membership where it is and still growing, that we are actually able to afford this. We have people that handle complaints. We have people that handle the phones. We have salespeople that make outgoing calls. We have retention people and collection people, and everybody needs to know about that app.
We're going to help you get the word out on that, because it is something that consumers really need to know about. So we're glad that you shared that with us. I keep going back to you saying that so many people don't read the contract. I mean, everybody, raise your hand if you have read the fine print. I mean, I don't either. So what are people missing? What do they need to look for if they do decide to look in that contract? What do homeowners need to know?
Well, with a roof and again, with almost anything else, they need to understand what their problem is and what the contractor is offering to do for what amount of money, and what is the warranty, and it all has to be very clearly spelled out. We actually mandate that we see a contract before we will vet a company. So each roof can have up to so many layers that they could put on top of the existing roof. All right. And at some point, if it's had that number of layers, and who knows that? You said earlier, it's something most of us are going to do once in a lifetime. I'm in my house 40 years. We've done it once and are probably close to needing it again. And you have to look at the warranty and then understand what the warranty really covers, because it can be detailed. And when I say read it, Leah, it's also read it and understand it. And if you don't understand it, ask questions. But you have to really know what you needed, what the contractor says they're going to do about it, and then you have to know that they did it. But if you really need to understand that, if they're going to cover your existing roof, can they do it in a rainstorm? If there's a tear off, if they got to do it down to the base, that's a different weather situation.
So you talk about the common mistakes. So what are the common mistakes that consumers make? What are the biggest ones?
Well, I think the without a question, it's reading the contract. In today's marketplace, probably the biggest issue for contractors is quality work people. But that's why you want to make sure that you're using a Better Business Bureau accredited business, because we've checked everything that we can. But when people have complaints against businesses, our resolution rate overall is about 70%. That number isn't spectacular, but our resolution rate with our members, with the people that are paying us and allowing us to vet them, is 99%. Because they don't want to lose the ability to use the logo. And we actually expel members. We revoke the accreditation every month at our board meeting of businesses that have not done what they told the public they were going to do. It's a process. There's a process and an appeal and a variety of levels. Takes several months.
So how do you spot a trustworthy contractor?
Using us is certainly the number one way to do it. If they're not a member, we still rate them. The rating is the same. There are no extra points given. Actually, I complained about that 25, 30 years ago. There was a rating system that we had that was giving points for accreditation, which means that they'd been vetted and agreed to the standards. And it allowed an accredited business to be an A plus, and non-accredited could only get to an A, because there was value to the consuming public. And we were threatened with a lawsuit by a state attorney general. And honestly, we chickened out as a system. And so we took those points out. So the review is the same. The process for complaining is the same. You'll look and see A plus accredited business, A plus non-accredited businesses. The complaints are a wealth of information. They are gold.
Yeah, talk about that. You can talk about that now. Let's.
All right, great.
Let's hear some examples.
We had when I was serving on the board of directors, there was the owner of a window and door company, and he was trying to get the BBB system to allow 72 hours to a business before we posted the complaint that they could fix it. And I said to him, the business you're in, I have 13 thumbs and I could do it if everything was perfect. The question comes up when there's something wrong, and what did you do to fix it? This man had his cell phone number on his website. He would get a call on Sunday morning and go out and fix stuff. I said, I wouldn't buy a window or a door with a company with no complaints, because if it goes smoothly, anybody can do it, but I want to know what somebody has done when a problem came out. So my suggestion is that people really look at the complaints, look at what people complained about, and look to see what they did to fix it.
Someone from our live studio audience who has a question. Tim, go ahead.
The audience, okay. I love it. Well, so how detailed is the resolution in there? So if somebody complains, like how detailed in the post, because it's very funny. For a very long time, reviews got watered down, right? And I love that the way that you said it. I agree. I do want to see the complaints, because some are like, all right, that's just petty. But other ones, that's legit. How did a business respond? So how detailed is a resolution put on the BBB about that? Because I love that.
You're going to love this. We actually, when a complaint comes in, we review it and we redact personal identifiable information and vulgarity. Otherwise, it goes in its entirety to the business. And then we do the same thing when the business responds. The process is called conciliation. All right. So, we're going back and forth until we believe the consumer's happy, or we believe the business made a good faith effort. There are consumers you can't please. But the entire back and forth is in the complaint information, with only personal identifiable information and vulgarity redacted.
I know that is a homeowner of many different homes. Every time that we've hired someone, I think the most useful tool, besides using you guys, of course, but the information or the advice to get at least three quotes, right? Is that something you advise?
Yes, absolutely. And we tell people read reviews also, although people can buy reviews. They're the ones that are vetted, the reviews that are vetted are on our website. And that's why I think we only actually post about 40% of the reviews that come to bbb.org, because we can't, first of all, you can't get more than one from a URL. We have to, the consumer has to prove a business relationship, because some businesses on Google, you can go out as a business and pay people to give positive reviews, or pay people to give negative reviews about a competitor. But we say, look at them, because you want to see if there's a pattern. And then obviously, see if you know anybody that's done. We always say to people, ask for references. Well, they're not going to give you a reference to somebody that they screwed.
They did a bad job, right? Exactly. Here's the person we didn't put the roof on for. We're going to.
That's right. That's right. I never showed up for that person.
I love that you say that only one from the URL. So you're really controlling the information that's on there, so it's more credible.
Yes, and by making them prove the business relationship, believe it or not, that's a significant number for reasons that they don't get posted.
Yeah, seems like you know what you're doing, Mr. Clark. We appreciate it. As far as scams go, what are some of the biggest scams you see when it comes to roofing?
Well, roofs are notorious for someone coming to the door and saying, I'm around the corner, I'm doing jobs. You need a roof. Normally, it would probably be $15,000, but because I'm around the corner and I need work for my work people, I'll do it for $5,000. Give me $1,000 to go buy supplies, and I can start tomorrow. We're going to talk about other types of home improvement. It is pervasive that people, and then there's people that literally send emails or call people's houses and say that they need the stuff. So it's not always in person, but it's much more powerful in person. They try and look professional, and that's actually probably the scariest thing.
When are you supposed to give the money?
We recommend a third when you sign the contract and understand it, and a third when the work is about half done, and a third on completion.
Warren, I'm loving this. I've learned an incredible amount more about the care that the BBB has through this. I love it. I'm the product of, my father owns a small business. He's a mechanic. And it's so unfortunate how often, and the same goes for contractors, roofers, the bad ones are the squeaky wheel. And you hear more about them when it's the good ones, the ones who are doing the right thing, that you don't hear enough about. But it's the bad mechanics that go, oh, he's a mechanic, or oh, he's a roofer. And it's like, no, there's so many great ones out there. This is good news that we're hearing from you all about what you do. So, hey, from the back room, love it. I love it.
when I was a board member, my family started with an Army Navy business. I kind of evolved it into a uniform, police, fire, and other career apparel. And I started an embroidery business, and the BBB allowed me to grow the embroidery business because if I was just doing it in Buffalo, people could drive up and see that I existed, that I had machines, and I wound up with customers in Vancouver, Canada, all over the United States and Canada because I was able to say on my website BBB accredited. So I'm a firm believer in this. We are probably a well-known, not well-known organization. And that's why we're thrilled to partner with HelloNation because it's a big part of us trying to get our word out. We have over 7,400 accredited members in upstate New York. And the more we grow, the more we can do. We're working with the small business development centers. We had a call yesterday. They're on 20 college campuses across upstate New York. And we have information for students that we're working on. The more revenue we have, the more good we can do in our community.
That's great. Yeah. And we're so happy to get the word out, not just on roofing, but we'll be talking about a number of other things
sure.
in the coming months. So we appreciate it. Everyone always looks at the price as their first decision-making factor. But your advice is what? Don't just look at the price, obviously, right?
Well, absolutely. You should try and get at least 3 quotes. It's not necessarily where you throw out the high and the low and take the middle either. But certainly the expected quality of the contractor would play an enormous role here. There could be prices that are too cheap, and that would be a red flag, frankly. With materials what they are today, it would just be impossible to do a quality job at a certain price. But we would tell people if it sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't. You have to educate yourself to at least that level, so that if somebody came in at $100 a square, they probably can't do it. And if it's 300, you probably don't want them either.
A few more questions before we play a really fun game that we have called Hello Goodbye. But I just want to summarize for our listeners, how does checking with the BBB help people avoid some of these potential problems?
Because of our not-for-profit status, we have to treat everyone the same. So whether they're members or not, we report, I said earlier, there's about 133,000 companies in upstate New York. We actually have reports on over 70,000 of them. And if we don't have a report, check with us because we will try and put one together. The reports come from information that gets fed to us. BBB can absolutely give you some quality people, again, members or not members. But if you're starting your quest for a roof, you certainly want to go through and see near you, not near you. It doesn't have to be real near, but because a roofer can travel, but they probably, if they're coming to Buffalo from Boston, and they're not here for the hockey game, then they're probably, looking at maybe what we call gypsy, which is people travel to places that have had a catastrophe. In Buffalo, we get snowstorms, and in New Orleans, they get hurricanes. And there are people that we call storm chasers that go around the country trying to screw people, for lack of a better term.
Yes, I know. And being in media, we've done a lot of stories on people who have done that and gotten away with it for way too long. So
Right.
It's important that people do check with the BBB. So we appreciate your service. What's a piece of advice, talking about stories, any real life stories from the BBB, real life cases that you could share with our listeners that perhaps they could learn something from and some advice from that?
My son, as I said earlier, is 47, and he had lived in California after he graduated college, came back to Buffalo, and he bought a house. And my wife and I said for the holidays, we were going to buy him a snowplow contractor. And because he wasn't in our exact neighborhood and our plow service wouldn't do him, we said, call somebody and do it, and we'll pay it for you. And he did, and we paid, and it is 15, 18 years ago. It was $245 or $240 something dollars. And it wound up, the people never showed up. It turned out to be a company that had been in Rochester that we kicked out And so they moved to Buffalo and opened. And my son, every minute of his life, I've been involved with the Better Business Bureau at some level, and he never checked with us before he bought his plow service. And
Whoa.
then I helped him become part of a class action suit, and we got $16 back. Moral of a story I should be embarrassed to tell,
It's a
but
safe space.
is
Share anything.
check with us, and that we also know the work we have, because we're not for profit. We don't do a ton of advertising, and so we're trying to improve on that. We've actually done a bunch of digital advertising now, and we allow our members to advertise that they're members, which is very helpful.
Yeah, this is how people are getting their information now, through podcasts. So we're happy to have this and have you be a part of it. All right, Warren. So we've talked about so much. Now we're going to play one of our favorite games here at HelloNation called Hello Goodbye. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a statement, a number of statements, and you're going to say hello if it's true, goodbye if it's not, and then provide an explanation. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, let's go. The first one, hello or goodbye. They provide a detailed written estimate without you asking.
Oh, that's what we're hoping for. Absolutely. It should be required. With the advice that we give as BBB, but that's a big hello.
All right, hello to that one. Hello or goodbye. They pressure you to decide on the spot.
Goodbye. That's the one of the things that we warn people specifically about, whether it's in person, whether it's electronically. Anytime they're trying to pressure you to make a decision without taking the proper time to do all of the things we talked about in the other questions, is a real red flag, a real goodbye.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, some people do, succumb to that pressure and make a hasty decision, right? How often you feel like you see that quite often?
Well, we do, and I think that's where we wind up hearing from the consumer later, that they are unhappy with some aspect of what they got.
All right, next one. Hello or goodbye. They don't have a physical business address listed.
Well, I'm thinking that's a goodbye. It doesn't, maybe they aren't from right around you, but the fact that they don't list it is a concern. I think we've talked a bit about the fact that when times get tough, anybody with a hammer and nail thinks that they can do home improvement, and roofs. Although I couldn't do it because I'm afraid of heights, but some people certainly could. There are what we call gypsy pavers, roofers. There's people that travel around just trying, unfortunately, to get business through less than ethical behaviors.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've seen that too as a journalist covering stories where you've had people scammed. So you want to prevent that. So that's what
Absolutely.
We're talking about here. Final question. Is this a hello or goodbye? A contractor asks for full payment up front.
That's a goodbye. The advice we give at the Better Business Bureau, for most instances, would be a third, a third, a third. That we recommend that the contractor ask for a third upfront, which we think is fair. A third when the job is, say, about halfway done. And then a third when it's completed. Now, there could be circumstances where you have a vendor that people have highly recommended, that the BBB has vetted, and they ask for half and half, or that payment upfront in full in advance is another really big red flag.
Warren, thank you so much. You've given us a lot of valuable information, and anyone looking to put on a roof, we hope that you do your research. And it takes time, right, Warren? I mean, you got to really be patient and make the right choice.
Yeah. I mean, when you think in terms of the dollars that you spend on home improvement at any level, and roofs are one of the bigger ones, you certainly would check before you spent an awful lot of money. And this is, other than the actual purchase of your home, and today maybe a car, A major thing like a roof is going to be one of the more expensive things you're going to do. We would just recommend that you do serious research before you buy.
Warren Clark from the Better Business Bureau, thank you very much. We really appreciate your time today. We look forward to checking in with you on other topics for home improvement and other things. And we want to thank our listeners as well and encourage you to share this information. If you know anybody who is looking to put on a roof, or if you yourself are doing that, pay close attention to all of Warren's advice, because he has decades of experience and knows how to help you avoid getting scammed. So from all of us here at HelloNation, we say thank you. Stay tuned. We have a lot more coming up. And we are HelloNation, where good news travels fast. I'm Leah Lando, your host, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching HelloNation.